Wow. What a week. What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan. Yes, first and foremost, got to get it out of the way. The Ottawa Charge lose 2-1 to the Montreal Victoire, ending their 6-game winning streak. And I think that this might be one of the better weeks for Charge fans, somehow, despite us having one game and it being a loss. Yeah. Wild week in the PWHL for starters. Just, I mean, the let's be honest, the first line brawl in PWHL history. Gerard for the Sirens, 4-game suspension. That's huge. That is huge in terms of what that impact can mean. But the biggest impact, let's be honest, the reason you clicked on this video, a blockbuster 6-player trade. Ottawa trades away Anna Meixner, Anna Shakina, the two Annas, and Manon McMahon. I have been banging on the Manon McMahon drum. I went to the feminist conversations. I got that autograph. Seems super nice, and I think she might be the most underrated player in the league. She is so fast. Every play, you can just tell that she's giving it her all. I loved her game. They have an underrated gem in Vancouver. We better get a haul for that. When I saw Manon McMahon, my heart sunk. Then I saw what we got. Emma Greco, Brooke McQuigg, and Michaela Cava are Ottawa Charge players. Bombshell of the year. I mean, our depth, our scoring just got bolstered. And I'm going to be honest, I was unsure before this trailer. I was like, what am I going to say? Like, this kind of felt like a bit of a repeat of, the first 6 games. What happened? We couldn't score and we lost. Next 6 games, our scoring came back and I started winning some games. We won 6 in a row. When we couldn't score, we won 1, lost 5. Started scoring, we won 6. This game, we couldn't score. We had a good start. In the first period, ultimately, play seemed pretty even, but we come out the gate with 5 shots. 5 shots before they get one. What do? We take a penalty. And on the power play, former Charge player Cheyenne D'Arcangelo scores. Montreal takes the lead. From there, Montreal's starting to play better than us. It's still a bit even, but about 15 minutes into the first period, they double it. D'Arcangelo gets their second point of the night, and it's looking pretty bad. But hey, we got a late power play. Maybe it's our chance to get back into the game, and we do. Rania Savalainen, she shoots, she scores. Savalainen's been having a great year so far. 2-1. And then just nothing. Then I don't know what happened. We just didn't show up. The second period, shots were 13-4. 13-4 in favor of Montreal. Somehow, that was the period where we had more shots between the second and the third. Now, yes, the third period, the play was a bit more even, I found. The second period, we are very lucky that it did not become a 4-5-6-1 game. The fact that we went into the dressing room still only down a goal was impressive. But when you take 3 shots in the third period down a goal, you are not going to win very many games. But it was hard to be mad because we just came off of a 6-game win streak. Okay, we had one bad night. We had a sting, and it was a game, and then a day off, and then a game, and then a day off, and then a game. And this was the last bit of that big chunk of games where, I'm going to be honest, I kind of felt like this was a bit of a scheduled loss. We've been playing a lot. We've had a lot of wins. Montreal, they aren't an easy out. What are you going to expect? You can't win every single game. I think, our next game. And I'm glad I waited to make this video because, Michaela Cava's going to be playing. Gerard isn't. That changes a lot. The whole dynamic of how that game can go is completely altered, in my opinion. This game, yeah, I mean, I've said it before, right? Again, we score 1 goal and we lose. And of course, we still are yet to have a game where we score 2 or more goals and also lose that game. And why do you think that is? Gwyneth Phillips on 31 shots, makes 29 saves, continues to be great. If Frankel wasn't having the season she's having, I think Phillips would be a really strong contender for goalie of the year. Like, Debia had a good game, don't get me wrong, but ultimately shots were 18 to 31. 17 saves on 18 shots versus 29 saves on 31 shots. I'll take the goalie that's making 29 saves, personally. Like, for me, I look at that and it's just like, it's nuts how good she's been. You want some scoring depth? Wow. Hasn't put you straight from Michaela Kappa. I'll put you to that. And get Brooke McQuigg. And getting Emma Greco a part of this. That's smart on so many levels. First off, good player. But second off, like, you want to talk about team vibes. You get the vibe of like, oh, well, maybe certain players wanted to be on a certain team together. And that's why they maybe left their former teams, so that they could play on the same team. So it's really smart if you're going to trade for Michaela Cava, get Greco. Don't be the team that breaks that up. No, bring them together. Let them elevate each other's game. Has it been a bit of a down year for Cava? Maybe. But I think this is a genius buy low. Buy low, sell high. Right? Buy low. It's not her best start. Perfect. Rely on that. I'll put it to you this way. Clark has not had a good start to the season. She hasn't. If we traded her, we better be getting like Poulin. We better be getting a top billing performing player until we have at least a full season and a bit of her not performing. You don't throw in the towel. You don't say, oh, well, I mean, this just isn't working out. I do think Ottawa wins this trade. And that's hard for me to say, because I think Mann McMahon is an excellent player. I really do. I think that she is a future Olympian. I think that she is going to be an impact player in Vancouver. She is the first player in PWHL history to score a game-winning goal against the Vancouver Golden Knights. The team she now plays for is that not wild? In their inaugural season, she's going to play for the Vancouver Golden Knights, and she is also the player who scored the first ever game-winning goal against the Vancouver Golden Knights. Is that a first? Is that a first? Like, those sports, like, how many players scored the game-winning goal or point or whatever against an inaugural team, like the first ever game-winning goal or point or basket or whatever, and then in that same year ended up playing for said team? That might be I don't know. I'm not like, I don't know how you could even research that. Maybe John Boise would know. John Boise, I feel like he might know. I want to know if this is a first, because that is such a wild and oddly specific statistic. But yeah, this trade I think is what's going to dominate the conversation. As much as I want to talk about the game, I don't know what to say. Like, we ran out of gas. The first period, it kind of felt like we had such a strong start, and then we take a penalty that wasn't even all that necessary, and Montreal capitalizes, and you could just feel the wind coming out of our sails. And we're just tired, battered, and beaten up from having so many back-to-back games. And we've already done pretty well. Like, we got 3 out of a possible, 4, 5 out of, watched too much Sens hockey in this week-long hiatus, it seems, and I've been, getting the wrong point system in my brain. We got 5 points out of a possible 9 in that 3-game stretch. That's pretty good. We are thoroughly in the playoff hunt, which 3 points in 6 games ago, not so much. When we had 1 win in 6 games, yeah, we were dead in the water. So to be comfortably in the playoff hunt is a fine position to be in. to have that one off game, you know, before every game was this. Every game was us completely unable to score. You know, we just look like a worse team. The other team is getting way more shots, overpowering us, outplaying us. This game, look, we've been playing a lot of hockey. It was bound to happen. I can't be all that mad if this continues, especially after you make a specific trade to bolster your scoring. That's what this trade does. This trade bolsters our scoring. So if then our scoring still remains not there, then you get really concerned. Then you say, why did you make a big blockbuster trade if not to improve that aspect of your game? But I do think that aspect of our game, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Michaela Cava to play at home. That is, that's the kind of thing you do. We are so good at doing those blockbuster trades. I just love that about the Charge. And I love it and I hate it. Don't get me wrong. It's, again, I cannot emphasize how much of a Mannon McMahon fan I am. I was a fan and McFan of Mannon McMahon. She was one of my favorite players on the team. There are so many favorite players that I've had for the Charge that are no longer on the Charge. This team hasn't even existed for a full 3 seasons. But we operate like a team that is gunning for a championship first and foremost. I mean, we were talking about how Hirschfield did nothing in the offseason, but boy is he willing to make big time trades, big swings for big names, for players that will impact the team long term, who will be difference makers, who in the playoffs might be that extra piece that you need. And having 2 Walter Cup championship players on our roster, that's the kind of thing you look for. Players who've been there and done it and climbed that mountain. That's good experience to have, especially when they're proven players who have really, really high upside. It's hard to be mad at this. The part that you're mad at is losing a fan favorite. And I liked all the players that we lost, but, you know, I've made it no secret that I will always gas up Mannon McMahon. She is very underrated and I think even underutilized. She's fast. She's got silky mitts. I mean, if you just get the opportunity to see her play live, she is so good. You always feel like she's like just one step away from really becoming a superstar. Like, it feels like there's just like a little bit more. And I say that with the highest of praise. Like, I can see her being a massively important player for Vancouver, for the PWHL as a whole. And at that age, with this skill level, I do think that, yeah, we might see in 3-4 years, Mannon McMahon being a top billing player. Being a captain or assistant captain. Like, she has that ability, in my mind. And losing a player like that hurts. And again, it's like, where did I get, this? Community outreach. Feminist conversations at the University of Ottawa. I go to that school. You know how awesome that is to have that kind of community outreach with those players? To have the conversation with them where they, and then afterwards getting to do a fan meet and greet. That goes a long way. And losing fan favorite players sucks. I still remember how gutted I felt when we lost Adja. Adja, I was so stoked with. Gritty player, tough. She got traded. It hurt. It stung. There are Grant Mentis, it hurt. I really, really liked having her on the team. But you can operate your hockey team based off of how much fans like a player, or you can operate a hockey team because you want to win the Walter Cup of hockey. And you are going to do whatever it takes to win. Hockey is one of those sports where no one is safe. If you think, oh, there's no way that they will ever play for another team, you're wrong. Gretzky got traded. Remember? That's like the whole saying. Like, how could you trade a player like, because at the end of the day, if it will help you, it's good. Look, Gretzky got traded to LA. They didn't win a cup. You know who did? The Oilers. By at least one metric, you could argue that they won that trade. I'm not making that argument, but what I'm saying is, Poulin, if the price is right, there's a possibility. There's an option. There's a chance that she doesn't retire a member of the Montreal Victoire. Is it likely? Probably not, but, this is actually, okay, I'm going to say my deepest, darkest fear. If Minnesota wins 4 in a row, at some point teams are going to ring chase, and they're going to go to the team that keeps winning the championship. And as much as I'd be disgusted, when you're the greatest player of all time, you kind of want a Walter Cup championship before you retire. Get that feather in your cap. Really super solidify your Hall of Fame bid. Make sure that there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You don't want anyone saying, well, Haley Weckenheiser definitely would have won a Walter Cup had she played in that era. You don't want anyone saying that. So maybe you go to the team that's already won a few. Knock on wood. But that is my secret, deepest, darkest fear. That Minnesota will just keep winning, and then players like, Poulin will say, okay, I need to win a cup. But yeah, that could happen. It could. If we could, maybe become a really competitive team close to Montreal with strong, French-Canadian roots, and we have players like Michaela Cavan, Brooke McQuigg, and Emma Greco impacting a World Cup championship or 2 or 3 or 4, maybe a call could be made. An offer could be dealt. In this league, in this sport, no one is safe, and especially with this team. Oh, you're a fan favorite player? There was a time where Emrance Mashmeyer was the most untouchable player. It was like Hilary Knight, Marie-Philippe Poulin, and Emrance Mashmeyer were completely untouchable. They will never, ever play for any other team, no matter what. And only one is with the team that they were originally with. This league is 3 years old. And Hilary Knight, who was Boston Fleet for life, gone, no longer in Boston. Emrance Mashmeyer, Ottawa Charge for life, gone. At least he's reunited with Manon. And the Ottawa Charge are especially a team where if there is a trade that will make this team better, they take it. We take it. And I love to see it because that's the kind of thing that honestly makes a league grow in popularity. If you just have the same players on the same team with it's completely unchanging, it gets boring after a while, don't you think? It's it's a same cast, same team. It's fun to see players go to a different team, a big trade. You think that I don't remember, as a Sens fan, the Carlson trade? And honestly, that worked out pretty well for us. The Giroux signing was a huge deal. So many even trades that didn't work out, DeBrincat and Chychrun. When they happened, those were big deals. Those were exciting moments. You need that. And you think of other trades, other bigger trades. I'm just talking about the Sens. There are some trades where you're like, whoa, what just happened? Subban, what just happened? Trades like that get attention. Look at the NBA. Dallas, oh my goodness, everyone's talking about it. Imagine if just, no, we're not. Nobody's going to ever make a big trade. No one's ever going to trade a fan favorite player because they're a fan favorite player. That gets so boring. I'm somebody who's like, you need a certain level of player movement. I do think, yeah, you need some of those core players that are pretty unchanging. I think we have that in Hughes, in Jenner, in Clark. And I think in Phillips now. I think, it was very clear that, okay, we had to pick a path. And I think Phillips is locked in as our future. And I think even if there was an injury to Phillips, it wouldn't matter because she's already won an MVP. And she's young enough that, there's no one who can really steal the net from her. I think that was the biggest deciding factor. Phillips had 5 years difference. That means that by the time she's Maschmeyer's age, it's going to be, 2030? That makes a difference. Because by the time it's 2030, Maschmeyer is going to be close to retirement. By the time it's 2034, Maschmeyer will be retired. And Phillips will still probably have another year or two of hockey left. If you lock her up for that entire time, you've opened up a window that lasts about a decade versus about 5 years. That makes a difference. But other than that, anyone could go. And even still, like I said, Emily Clark's had a slow start. If she has a slow middle and she has a slow finish, who knows? I still consider her probably one of my favorite players. I think my favorite player is Jenner or Phillips. But Clark is top 3. Clark is top 3 for me. And I don't want her to go. But Manic McMahon was probably top 10. And I like this trade. And how is this not exciting for everybody in the league? A blockbuster deal like this? How do you talk about anything else? I don't know. I'm so excited to see Michaela Cava in an Ottawa Charge. She's going to be wearing an Ottawa Charge jersey. So my next video is going to be really exciting because I'm going to have some players who I'm going to be looking into. And yeah, as always, go Ottawa, go!